am Henry Frankenstein, and with me is my latest creation, based heavily on the Frankenstein movies and books. Growing up, I loved getting into horror films. They seemed like a forbidden fruit. The gore, the violence, harsh shadows. I love it, I love it, I love it. Today, I'm discussing an absolute classic, Frankenstein, directed by James Whale. Based on the Mary Shelley book, this isn't the first adaptation of the story, but it's the one that everybody thinks about. Black and white with Boris Karloff as the monster. Ever since the movie came out, there's been a massive confusion. People think that the monster is named Frankenstein, but that's really the name of the doctor. The monster has no name. It's simply called The Monster, or Frankenstein's Monster. I think the confusion started with this poster. You see the monster front and center, and right above it is Frankenstein. So of course, coming fresh off of Dracula, people just assumed that's the monster's name. And it's been a misconception that carries to this day. Ah well. This movie is an absolute classic. For 1930, this movie was pretty hardcore. Bodies being hung, digging up graves, tampering with human brains. The idea of stitching together a body, it's pretty morbid, but that's what draws us in. And when Frankenstein sees his creation come to life, he shouts the line that went down in history. It's alive! It's alive! It's alive! We're then introduced to the monster. The appearance is simply iconic. Every parody, every remake, and anything relating to the monster is drawn back to this look. The novel is pretty vague of how the monster appears, so they had fun putting together this amazing monster. The flat top, the strong jaw, the square body. It's so simplistic and yet iconic. As the monster wanders about, Frankenstein abruptly despises his creation. He has his servant, Fritz, commonly referred to as Igor. Poor creature has only been alive for a few hours and is subjected to torture and torment. You really empathize with him. He doesn't know any better. A really iconic scene is when the monster finds a little girl tossing daisies into a pond. The monster joins her, and it's a sweet moment. You think he finally made a friend, until he lifts her and tosses her in, killing her. And to this day, I find that moment still so unnerving. Once again, the monster isn't to blame. He was having fun. He runs amok through the town, and the villagers form a mob, killing both Frankenstein and his monsters, until the many sequels, spin-offs, or remakes. But what if things played out a different way? What if the monster just lived peacefully as Dr. Frankenstein made him a companion, a woman this time? What if him and her find a connection with each other, and they go about their lives exploring the world? They come across the blind man who teaches them how to talk. The monster is still enamored by daisies, so he nicknames his partner Daisy. They go to a river, and they both spend quality time tossing flowers into the river. This is possibly my most elaborate artwork yet. I used my posing app to have a male and female model sit in various positions. I also had a log for them to sit on. With my models in place and lighting worked out, I went over to Sketchfab to use a 3D model of the monster and his bride. I traced over everything. Ironic I had used bits and pieces and experiments to put together this drawing. With everything in place, I kind of had to dabble with the outlines. For example, the monster's skin is green, so I used a dark green for the outline. I used this technique for the entire piece. It's something I haven't really done until now. Next was to color everything in and shade it. One layer for shadows, one for highlights. However, the surrounding nature is slightly different. I used 4 layers. One for base color, one for shading, one for highlighting, and another for extra texture and detail. The trees in the river needed this extra attention to frame the artwork. The very background was a sky and some green grass, but then I added a whole bunch of dead trees. To give the illusion of depth, I duplicated that layer and made it a lighter color, only to erase it into thin lines, a whole mess of branches and wavy lines to give it the look of a forest. And of course, petals and daisies to help give the piece much needed color. This is a wonderful drawing. If I were to change anything, I would have another go at Frankenstein's monster. I don't know how, but I made him look a little too cartoony. And yet the bride looks good. I don't know, tell me your thoughts. Now, it's time to make my creation come to life. Yes! It's working! It's alive! I'm pretty proud with this one. I just think it turned out really, really well. I have the color version and I have the black and white version. Please tell me which one you prefer. With that said, I am Dr. Noah Henry. Until next time.